Sad news had left gospel fans shaken when CeCe Winans, the woman known for her flawless voice and strong faith, revealed something no one expected. For years, people saw her as untouchable, the kind of artist who never slipped into scandals or controversies. But that image started to break when she opened her heart in a way that shocked everyone. You won't believe how raw and emotional her words were. Let me tell you, it wasn't a polished performance. It wasn't a press release. It wasn't even an interview. It was simply CeCe standing before people, letting the world see her scars for the first time. She had always been the voice of hope, the singer who reminded millions to believe even in the darkest nights. But this time, her own voice cracked as she admitted that even she had carried silent battles. This is where it gets interesting. The same woman who had sung about faith and healing was now confessing that she too had cried alone, questioned her strength, and wondered if she was enough. Fans in the room leaned forward, their hearts racing, because they realized they weren't just listening to a gospel legend anymore. They were listening to a human being breaking down right in front of them. What made the moment even more shocking was how unexpected it felt. The room grew silent. Her words dropped like heavy stones, and people knew they were witnessing something no script could ever capture. The craziest part was how her honesty made the entire audience reflect on their own hidden pain. Some started to cry, some whispered prayers, and others just sat frozen, realizing that even the strongest voices sometimes tremble. But here is the shocking part. CeCe admitted that being in the spotlight didn't make her immune to loneliness, doubt, or heavy burdens. She said that people often believed her faith shielded her from life's struggles, but the truth was very different. Destiny took an unexpected turn in that moment. The woman who had been the symbol of gospel strength revealed she too had felt weak, she too had questioned herself, and she too had nights when the smile was only a mask. And this honesty spread like fire across social media once people shared the clips. Within hours, her confession went viral, and fans from all over the world were talking about how CeCe's truth touched their hearts in ways her music alone never could. But what makes this story different? It wasn't just about her anymore. Her words opened a door, forcing people everywhere to think about the pressure of being strong when inside you are breaking. CeCe's words started spreading across social media. The reactions came faster than anyone could have imagined. Clips of her breaking voice and teary eyes were shared on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, with millions of views piling up in just a few hours. Fans wrote long comments under every post, admitting that they never thought someone like CeCe could feel this way. Some said her honesty made them feel less alone, while others admitted they cried watching her confession. One fan even wrote, "If CeCe Winans can struggle and still hold on to faith, then maybe it's okay that I do too." Let me tell you, this reaction was bigger than just gospel music. People outside the church walls also connected with her moment. For them, it wasn't about religion, it was about humanity. This is how her words became more than a confession. They became a mirror for people everywhere. The craziest part was seeing how fans from different backgrounds related to her pain. From young women writing about their battles with depression to fathers sharing how they felt the pressure of being the strong one in their families, CeCe's moment had opened a floodgate of hidden struggles. People started saying that for the first time, they felt seen. And yet, while the fans were celebrating her vulnerability, another storm was already building. Because as much as her truth touched millions, not everyone believed it was the right move. But here is the shocking part. While social media praised her, many pastors, church leaders, and even fellow gospel voices began to question her decision. Some argued that gospel leaders carry a responsibility to always show strength, not weakness. They said fans look to CeCe for hope, not tears. One outspoken critic wrote, "People don't go to CeCe for confession, they go to her for faith." That single sentence set off a heated debate. Supporters fired back, saying her honesty was exactly what the church needed, while others feared her confession could make people doubt their own faith. This is where it gets interesting because the same words that comforted one group unsettled another. What makes this story different is that it showed a sharp divide in the gospel community itself. On one side, people praised her courage for breaking the image of perfection. On the other side, critics accused her of weakening the role of a gospel leader. And in this clash, something deeper was revealed. The uncomfortable truth that even in faith communities, image sometimes matters more than authenticity. Destiny took an unexpected turn as the debate grew louder, and the gospel world realized this moment wasn't going away anytime soon. The debate did not slow down. In fact, it only grew bigger as more voices joined the conversation. What started as one woman's emotional confession quickly turned into a storm inside the church community. Supporters said CeCe was brave, that her honesty showed people it was okay to admit their pain. They argued that pretending to be perfect was far more damaging than telling the truth. They reminded critics that even great biblical figures like David, Elijah, and Paul openly shared their struggles. But here is the shocking part. Critics did not back down. They insisted that CeCe's role was to lift people up, not expose her weaknesses. For them, this was dangerous because it blurred the line between inspiration and vulnerability. Let me tell you, this clash revealed something most people never spoke about. Behind the polished smiles and powerful performances, many gospel artists carried the same struggle CeCe described. The pressure to always look strong, always be faithful, and always be. The example was crushing. Insiders whispered that her confession might actually give other artists the courage to finally share their hidden battles. But the craziest part was that others feared the backlash might scare them into silence instead. This is where it gets interesting because CeCe's moment forced the church to face a question it had avoided for years. Is it better to protect an image or to tell the truth? What makes this story different is that it didn't just stay inside the gospel world. As the debate spread, people outside the church started paying attention. Mental health advocates, podcasters, and even mainstream news outlets began highlighting CeCe's confession as an example of courage. They said her words were breaking walls between faith communities and the wider world. Suddenly, this was no longer just a gospel controversy. It was becoming a cultural conversation about honesty, pressure, and the hidden battles leaders face everywhere. Destiny took an unexpected turn once again as the gospel industry realized this wasn't just a moment that would fade away. It was the beginning of something larger, a conversation too big to silence. The very thing that critics feared, CeCe's weakness, was now the reason her story was reaching more people than ever before, and yet the ripple effects were only just starting. As the ripple spread beyond gospel circles, CeCe's confession began to touch places no one imagined. Clips of her raw words trended on TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube, reaching people who had never even heard her music before. Some viewers said, "I don't know who she is, but her honesty just healed me." Let me tell you, this is how one moment inside a church grew into a global conversation about faith, mental health, and the courage to admit weakness. Mental health experts praised her bravery, saying her honesty could actually save lives by giving people permission to speak up about their struggles. Therapists pointed out that silence often destroys people, but CeCe's tears reminded the world that even leaders are human. The craziest part was seeing how other artists responded. Younger gospel singers admitted that her moment gave them courage to be more open about their own battles. Even some secular artists said they wished more stars in the music industry would show that same kind of vulnerability. What makes this story different is that it wasn't about a scandal, a fight, or a fall from grace. It was about truth. Pure, painful, but healing truth, and how one woman's confession turned into a message for millions. But here is the shocking part. While critics argued about whether she should have said it, CeCe herself made it clear she wasn't looking for sympathy. She explained that she spoke up because she wanted others to know it was okay to admit when you're hurting and that God doesn't ask us to be perfect, only honest. Those words hit deeper than any song because they felt real, unscripted, and timeless. Fans said it gave them strength to face their own battles without shame. Destiny took an unexpected turn in her life that day, but it also turned for everyone who listened. CeCe's confession became bigger than her, bigger than gospel music, and bigger than the controversy itself. It reminded the world that vulnerability is not weakness, it is courage. And in the end, her moment of breaking down did not destroy her image. It made her even more powerful, more relatable, and more unforgettable than ever before.